Hey,
Hey mom,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Just trying to get my video going. I'm good. Just trying to get my video.
So I heard us a little bit in the background, just a little bit.
Okay, so I just you shouldn't hear it now.
It's gone.
All right. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to look in the chat as well, but that's okay. It's all good. This is my first time, so we're just gonna wing it. And so I'm just gonna start talking. I don't know who's on here. I don't know who's not on here. I have absolutely no idea. So we're just going to do this and see what happens. Okay. All right.
Well,
So,
hey everybody.
hey, okay. It's not your turn yet. Let me go and read my disclaimer. All right. All right. So during this podcast, we spend a lot of time. First, hey, y'all. Hey, I'm so excited. It's my first podcast. I'm so excited. Okay. Let me slow down. Okay. So I do have a little disclaimer that I want to read, and then I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about some things. Then I'm going to introduce our guests. And then we're going to go from there. So during this podcast, we spend a great deal of time discussing mental health and mental illness and the effects it can have on you and your loved ones. The conversations shared here are the opinions of myself and my guests only. I am not a licensed mental health professional, and I do not provide treatment or advice. My intent is not to cause harm or trauma to anyone. However, I am aware that some of the conversations may trigger some unwanted feelings. Therefore, resources for mental health services are provided to each guest at the conclusion of the show. So, today, let me sit this over here. I got to get a little better organized, y'all, but it's going to come. It's going to come. It's going to come. So, just so you know, when I started this journey, some of you all already know how it happened. When I started this journey, it was not a calling that I asked for. It was something that was just dropped in my lap. You know, as parents, when we have kids, we expect them to, you know, go to school, grow up, and go off in the world, get married, have some babies so you can have some grandbabies. And that's what you expect when you have kids. But sometimes life throws you a curveball. And so I was hoping with this topic tonight that we can share some conversations because I believe that healing is in the conversation. So, in our situation, we have one of our family members who suffers from mental illness. And one thing I've never been able to do is it's so rude. Like when your kids call you when they trying to get. Hold on one second. Yeah, Tyson, call your brother. Also, I was lost my train of thought, but I'm about to bring it back. We expect our kids to grow up and be successful and do things and do all kind of things, but sometimes life throws us a little curveball, and you don't really know, what you're gonna get, right? And so I have 5 kids, and one thing that I've noticed when I've been going through this journey with my daughter is that I never took into consideration other family members. So I was hoping with this podcast today, this conversation today, that we'll talk about how mental illness affects other family members. You know, I've been doing so much sleepless nights and pacing and crying and you know praying and all this energy I put into this one kid, but I actually have 4 more and a grandchild that I really hadn't put any time in with. And I was just curious to know, just so you all know, this is my first time asking them. I am allowing them to be transparent and to talk in the way that they want to talk and explain in the way that they want to explain. their experience with having a sibling with mental illness. So I'm hoping by the end of this conversation that some of you all are able to relate, get some good information, maybe notice some signs that, either they saw or didn't see, and maybe that can, help you and your family. Mm. Y'all know I'm in the real world, right? So I got a dog. She is not supposed to be in here. She is actually supposed to be with her sister. But anyway, so right now I have my kids. I have Tyson, who is on. And so I got a lot of questions for him. I think he is trying to help his brother get on. Is that correct? Is he able to do the link and get on there?
He's downloading either Firefox or Chrome right now. They're using Safari, so I told him they got to use Chrome.
Okay.
Yeah. So he'll be here shortly.
Okay. And then you got a sister running around here somewhere. I think I just heard her come through the door. But she's supposed to either log on, or she's either going to come in here with me. Not sure which one she's going to do. So y'all, this is my son Tyson. He is number where do you fall in the line? You number, let's see, 1, 2. Well, you're number 3. He's number 3 in the stack. He's number 3 in the stack. So Tyson, I was hoping everybody would have followed instructions, but y'all have always been like this. This is not new. This is not new. So I have a few questions for you. I was trying to just drag it just a tad bit, y'all. If you can tell, I'm just trying to drag it a little bit, just a little bit, trying to get okay. So here comes number 1. Number 1 is now on the scene, but he needs to unmute. He needs to unmute. You got to unmute, son.
Me?
No, the other son. Did you allow, Ortega, did you allow StreamYard to use your microphone and your camera? Because I cannot hear you. Oh,
there you go.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. So and stay still. You good?
You good.
Hey. All right. So this is number 1 in the stack, y'all. This is number 1. All right. And so if I can just get baby number 4, is that 4? Yeah. Baby number 4 to get on. Then I think we can. I hear her, but I'm not sure if she's trying to get in here with me or if she is trying to log in herself. So please excuse my little delay. Y'all know this is my first time. I'm gonna be a little more organized next time. But I am working this thing out. But I can look at the comments right quick. Hey Weber, thank you so much for joining me. Y'all, I have to give such a huge shout out to Ursula with Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together for pushing me to start this podcast, y'all, because I would still be lagging if it was not for Ursula. So y'all give Ursula some hand claps and all that stuff, because it's because of her that I got this thing going, y'all. And she has her own podcast going on tonight. So yes. One more thing, Tyson, if you can send the link to Miss Dewberry. Not the StreamYard link, but the YouTube link. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So folks, y'all, I can't text y'all right now. I can't do any of that right now. I'm trying to I'm trying to be professional. Yeah, I'm trying to be professional. All right. So baby number 4, I'm sure she will jump on shortly. But in the meantime, let me introduce y'all to baby number 1, which is Ortega, and baby number 3, which is Tyson. All right. So Ortega, since you are, so what I would do is I will ask you all questions and things like that, but I'm gonna go in oldest to youngest. You know what I'm saying? You earn a few props when you get to be the first one. So we're gonna go oldest to youngest. And so currently, what is your age, Ortega? How old are you?
I am 32 years old.
And I hear my baby in the background. Lord have mercy. Tell him be quiet.
Mm.
32. Tyson,
I'm 22.
good. And for the viewers, Ortega, what is your current profession, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, right now, I work for a company called 50 Floor.
What do you do?
I work in the warehouse side of the building.
Okay. And take Tyson. And y'all excuse me because I jumble their names up all the time. When you get 5 kids, that's the type of stuff you do. Tyson, what's your current profession? What we doing for the viewers? Your mama knows, but tell them what you doing.
Uh, I'm in school at Fort Valley to be a veterinarian right now, and I play football on the side, and I cut hair.
Okay. Okay. And so, what I wanted to know is, I wanted to share with our viewers what and this is something that I don't even know the answer to. So I'm kind of excited to ask it myself. So we're gonna have we're it's this is more of a conversation. So you don't have to just strictly just answer and stop or anything like that. We having what's called a conversation, okay? What are some of your favorite childhood memories, y'all?
Mm.
You see, they smile alike. What are some of your favorite childhood memories with your sister?
With my sister, oh man, I used to watch. Me being the oldest,
Mm-hmm.
I watched those three a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
A whole lot. I was the big brother. You and Steve, y'all worked, so I was the go-to babysitter. I mean, just I don't know. It's a lot of memories I got with them, man.
Okay.
Just I don't know. We're 10 years apart, so it wasn't really like I don't know. Like I don't know. I was like
You want to get on
just
with
the
me?
overseer to them.
That picture. Tyson, what are some of your favorite childhood memories?
Oh, I got a few. What I can remember for the most part is when we lived in College Park.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my sisters, we would always just be outside playing, or we always had an idea, like something to do. So we were never bored. And India was the mastermind behind everything. I have an idea. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was always just fun, and just playing and being kids.
Mm-hmm. So when you all were growing up, how would you describe India's behavior?
When I go first, India. Growing up, India was like to fast forward now and see back then. India was the smartest out of all of us. Like she was always in those honors classes and elementary, middle school. She was real smart. India was
Yeah,
very smart.
I used to say that all the time. She was like the smartest out of everybody, but I never would say it out loud.
Yeah. Yeah, she was very smart, man. Like
Ain't nobody saying that.
academically, just other things. India was just different.
Mm-hmm.
India is different.
Mm-hmm. So, um, so for some of you, that might be some things that you may, notice with your loved one. Maybe they're extremely academic smart. That's not the first time that I've heard that about people, some people with mental health, that they are extremely smart, like, academically. India never struggled with school. She was the type of kid who could read something once. She never studied. Let's put it like that. She could read something one time and she got it. So this is baby number 4 right here. This is Tia. Everybody always says we look alike.
I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, people always say that we look alike. So Tia, now that I'm adding you into the conversation, just so you know, we're just having a little dialogue. This is just a conversation. Um, so everyone knows everyone's name already. Knows that you're number 4 in the stack. And what is your current profession?
I currently work at the ACC tower at the airport.
Okay.
I dispatch fuel to the aircrafts.
Okay. So look at they be smiling at each other and stuff. Look at them. Yes, Tia and Tyson are twins. I'm just looking in the chat. Oh, you talking about or
Oh, y'all.
me?
It's
We're twins. Yeah, but Tia and Tyson are like for real twins. So yeah. Um. So I asked them when you were growing up, how would you describe Tia? How would you describe some of India's behaviors? Because I remember you all had to share a room for a while too. What Tyson was stuck in there with y'all too. What are some of your memories?
Me,
You.
um, I guess one of the memories I always had is when we were like really young. My dad used to work at this barbershop, and like I would make these little doodles like of girls in like skirts and tops. Like it was just like simple little doodles, and I made two of them. And it's silly, but I was like, okay, I'm this one. And then she was like, okay, well, I'm this one because it's cute. And I was like, okay, well, I'm that one then. And she was like, well, okay, then I'm this one then because this one's cute too. They're both cute. And so I was like, okay. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, that was just something when we were little, but it was just so pure and like, you know, wholesome. So I always like remember that. Like,
Hmm. When you were when you're so this is for everybody. When your dad and I first started our mental health journey with your sister, what did you all think? So we've been going through this journey for about 5 years. I thought that the listeners may want to know what your guys' real opinions were about what we were going through. Did you all believe us? Did you think, oh, she's just bad? Or what did y'all think about what was going on when your dad and I just started going through this journey? Ortega,
Um,
we used to hear me and Steve talk about this, about what's going on. What did you think when you first heard about it? We've been going through this for about 5 years. So what was your opinion? What did you think?
uh, I first just thought she was just being bad, you know. Then I just noticed she changed. Like she'll just do off the wall stuff, and that made me believe. I didn't think you guys were just saying it just to say it, or just picking something to say because she was acting that way. But at first, I was like, man, she just crazy. She just acting crazy. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like some off the chain stuff. But the thing later on in the years, the thing she started doing, that's when you like, man, something they right. They
Right.
right.
Is it any particular incident that made you say they're right?
Yeah,
They,
the going back and forth to Miami. Like
mm-hmm.
I'm 32. I haven't even really went to Miami just because it was so far. I'm like, man, like to go to Miami, we driving and stuff. So I'm like, man, that's not far. And for her to go back to back to back to back like that, I'm like, you crazy. You ain't like really doing nothing out there that I know of, but you going back and forth to Miami to Atlanta driving. I'm like, man, something off. She was doing stuff in Atlanta too. She'll be running away. She smoke. She'll Nana lives with you and stuff, so she'll do Nana, and that's the thing. Like that's when I knew something was off because all these years, Nana, like everybody knows not to do nothing crazy in front of Nana. Even if you are gonna do something, you gonna hide it from Nana. India is right in her face with it. So I'm like, yeah, something ain't right. Something ain't
Mm-hmm.
right. Steve and mom are right about India, man, about this thing.
Right.
I didn't really know about mental. Like I hear about it all the time and people would talk about it all the time, but I never dove into it and
Mm-hmm.
understood what it really was, but
Right.
in, it was right in our face the whole time. You know what I
Right.
mean? I didn't recognize what was in my face at the time. I was just kind of like, this girl bad, man. She off the chain. I don't know what's wrong with her.
Yeah.
Really,
So
she's sick.
right. So a lot of family members feel that way. And that's why I brought you guys on here because you all were upfront and exposed to it. And so Tyson, same question for you. What did you think um, when Steve and I first started going through this journey with India? What did you all think? Did you think, she's crazy or she's just bad or she's just what were you thinking? I mean, you were away a lot because you went off to school. So, you weren't necessarily home with us all the time, but you would hear what was going on.
Yeah.
You have a good relationship with me and you have a good relationship with your dad. So, what did you think?
Well, at first, I just like Tia said before, and Tega said, we all knew where India came from. So with her growing up, we're not expecting India to kind of act out of the ordinary or anything. She's very smart. Um, India knows how to maneuver. Like, and she's just very smart. So at first, I really wasn't too into it. I thought everyone was just talking. Like, India's just being India. India. She has her own life, and she's older, and she wanted to go out and explore and like see different parts of the world and all that. But what kind of got me thinking that something is wrong with India was when she got married. So she ended up marrying a guy down there in Miami, and we didn't even know India was had a relationship or anything going on. So it was just like, what? Well, okay, India, all right then, you know. And after that, it was just, her coming. I remember we had Thanksgiving where everybody came, and India just came through the house smoking, like light. And we have a gas stove, so she's lighting up blunts on the stove, and you just smell the aroma throughout the house and everything. And you
Yeah.
just like what Taker said, it's some things you do, and it's some things you just hide. And it's like, well, that's one thing you hide, but
And you especially hide from me.
exactly. But it's just like, well, you just gonna do it out in the open like this?
That's it.
Everybody's here. So that was just kind of like, well, yeah, something ain't right here, because you know, if I was in her shoes, I wouldn't be just trying to just be out in the open doing that.
Right.
You know.
Right. So, if you all that are watching can put some comments in the chat, if you can relate, if you know family members who are going through what we're going through or experience what we're experiencing, or if you personally have seen, somebody in your family and you're like, oh my gosh, all these years I thought they were good, and then they started just all out of the blue acting up, and you didn't believe it. Put 100% in there to show that you understand. All right, so Tia, same with you. Um, when your dad and I first started our mental health journey with your sister, what did you think?
Yeah, at first I guess like Tyson said, like I couldn't believe it. Like not I couldn't believe it, but I just was like I guess in denial. Cause like you just feel like I don't know, she's always done things like sneak out the house, like okay, that's some typical high school junk. And then, as you get older, it's just like, okay, she kind of been doing that, but it wasn't as severe. But then it kept getting more severe, like signs like saying, my mom and my dad aren't our real parents. Like, and it really got to the point where me and Tyson, like I really was like questioning, like, but I'll be like, we have pictures like where she's like holding us when we baby. So it was just like, nah, like I'm not the one that's
You all were
tripping.
believing that I wasn't her mom.
I mean, well, like I don't know. She
What,
yeah, like and then like she calls my parents like Steve and Jackie, like she
what,
disconnected. So yeah, at that point I started feeling like, okay, yeah, maybe something really might not be right. And then yeah, like Tega said, going to Miami. And then like but every time she went to Miami, when she'll come back, she'll be like in the hospital. So, you know, when it was like multiple times she was going to the hospital, like over like 10, like it was just getting like a cycle, like it was just really insane. And at that point, I was like, okay, no more being in denial. Like, it's probably, yeah, something wrong. But
Remember a
yeah,
time you said she threw the Bible out the window?
yeah, like, and that was like, I would say February or March sometime this year. So, yeah, like, yeah, it'll be hysterical crying stories we never heard of. Like, she lived like a whole nother life for real. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, at that point, I just felt like, yeah.
So a lot of families do the same thing. Like they don't believe that their loved one has mental illness. They think that they're just bad or just acting out, and you know people call them crazy, and they're not crazy, they're sick. It's kind of like if you were diagnosed with if you had diabetes or something like that, and they said, hey, um, you need to take some insulin to stay alive, because as we like to call it, the sugar, you got the sugar. You have diabetes. And so if they said, hey, you need to take this insulin shot, lose some weight, and change diet, you can stay alive. And everybody can relate to that as something being sick. But mental illness is just a chemical imbalance in the brain, and the brain is sick. So a lot of people don't really understand or have a difficult time comparing the two as an illness. If the doctor says you got diabetes, you'll accept that all day long. You got cancer, you'll accept that all day long. But the moment they say, oh, you have bipolar disorder, they're like, bipolar disorder? Oh, no, I don't have that. No, 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 I don't have that. And everyone around is like, they don't have bipolar disorder. Well, they will joke with it. Yeah, they bipolar, but not the clinical term of bipolar. They're using the bipolar term as they crazy and then they not. So that, a lot of people can relate to that. If y'all can relate to some of that, let me know, y'all. Holla at me in the chat so we can communicate. And I'm going to read a comment from Mary Dewberry, and it says, I understand what you're feeling. I have a sister that is suffering from bipolar. I just let her have her space. Now I need to focus. As Weber said, that's so true. Uh, Glenver Terry the third said he agrees. So yeah, we got to treat it more of an illness, like a sickness, than, oh, they just crazy. So now that you all know that she has mental illness, she has a clinical diagnosis of bipolar and schizophrenia. How does that affect the way that you feel about mental health? The oldest first.
It gives me more understanding. Uh, Cause to be honest, y'all, this is all new to me. I just processing all of this stuff is new, so I'm really just taking my time and paying more attention to the details and trying to understand more of what this is about because it is serious. I mean, it's gotten to a bad point with my sister to where I have no other option but to dive into this situation more and get more understanding of what's going on.
Right.
Because honestly, I'm new to it, y'all. This new to me.
Right.
I'm just, but this is my family, so
Right.
yeah.
Tyson, now that you know that your sister has mental illness, how does that affect the way that you feel about mental illness? Has it changed your perspective at all?
Well, being down here at Fort Valley, you kind of you kind of learn a lot about mental illness and your mental health period because there's just so many people around here going through different things and I cut a lot of hair here on campus, so a lot of guys are very comfortable with sharing things that are going on in their life and some of those experiences. So I'm not new to it, but the thing that kind of made my motor go a little bit more is that it could happen to anyone close to you. Like it
Absolutely.
hit my sister, and it just kind of makes you want to address mental health more and just check up on people around you because it can happen right under your nose and you could see the signs in your face and you wouldn't even know until it's too late.
Right.
So you will want to address it, try to stop the train before it gets started, you know.
Right. And in the beginning, you all said that India was the smartest out of all five of you, right? So
Mhm.
you do see that it can come to in anyone's family. You said that you know how she was raised, so you know that she was raised pretty decent. You all were able to, as I say, keep up with the Joneses, for to have a mom that worked so much and things like that. You all were able to keep up with things. So it can. You're right. It can come. It can strike anybody's family at any time. Tia, what do you think? Now that you know that mental illness, now that you know that your sister has mental illness, how does that affect the way that you feel about mental illness? At first, you thought she was crazy, right? You thought it was, oh, she just crazy. Then she started doing all these different things to give you signs like something's not right. You said that you know she's always in the hospital every time she comes back. So has it? How does that make you feel about mental health?
I feel like, you know, I guess like people who choose to hospitalize those people to help stabilize them, as they say, should kind of take it more seriously, make it longer to make sure that they're stabilized before they go back into society because she was like hospitalized over 20 times and that was just from 2021. This been going on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just feel like people should be more aware, you know.
What absolutely, I agree with that too. Yes, I did a Facebook live video that y'all probably did not see because I know you guys say Facebook is for old people. um so I did this Facebook live video and I did talk about the number of hospitalizations that she had, and you're right, there needs to be more care for people um before they are released from the hospital because sometimes they're just not stable and they get sent back out to family members, or if family members are burned out, they get sent back out into the street. um have you all, those of you that are watching, if you've have you ever driven around and just seen people who are displaying mental illness walking up and down the street? Let me know in the chat if you've seen it. And I'm sure some of those people have had family members in the past that were helping them but got exhausted. So we do need to make some changes. That's one reason why I did want to create this podcast as well, because I do want to change legislation when it comes to acute care treatment. But that's going to be a whole nother conversation that's going to come up soon. What's the so now I'm going to reverse it and do the youngest to the oldest. So she used to always call herself the baby
Mm,
before a baby came.
right.
Um, what's the most important thing you've learned about mental health?
I feel like you should take it seriously. Like when you see signs, I mean, maybe like, like when you get like a yearly physical, when you are like, when you turn your birthday every year or whatever, I feel like maybe they should include like a mental evaluation so you can see as the child progresses on what signs are they showing and things like they should just be more, you know, but it just made me very like more aware of the lack of how much we have, but you know, we're trying to change that.
Mm-hmm. And Tyson, What's the most important thing you've learned about mental health?
The most important thing I learned about mental health is that it's not actually a joke. A lot of people do joke and they don't take it as serious, but people go through things every day, and it's just good to just check on people around you from time to time. Even check yourself out. Evaluate yourself just so you don't end up crashing out or just get the stop the train before it starts. So just take preventative measures and just take it more serious.
Ortega, what's the most important thing you've learned about mental health?
It's not. I don't have too many words. I just wanted to say I learned to not overlook it like I did before, or I don't know. The older I get, the more mature I get. So at first, like I said, I thought she was just playing, not playing, but just acting out.
Mm-hmm.
I was overlooking that. Like that train started rolling, like Tyson was saying.
Right.
That train took off. So I learned to not overlook that kind of thing, man. Um,
Right. Yeah.
I can't really explain it, but
Oh, you're doing great. Because people, the reason why I brought you on here is so people don't have to just hear me all the time. Because people have family members who don't have mental health, but either live with or know family members who have mental health. So they were feeling, oftentimes everyone has the same feelings. At first, they were thinking, oh, maybe it's not that bad. Oh, I didn't really know. And now that it's in your face, you're starting to learn and know that this thing called mental health is and mental illness is extremely real. Dana put in the chat, I see and serve the mental homeless every month. So sad. And she does. She goes out on the third Saturday of every month to go feed the homeless. So she sees a whole lot out there, and she's been doing it for some years. She said, and some sane people often use it as an excuse to escape life or for sympathy. She said, Teggy, you make some great points. Yes, that is true. Um, as well. She gave you Weber gave you an upgrade, Dan. She called you Dr. Green. She is a doctor. She's a doctor. Keep this hair straight. But yes, people people oftentimes overlook these people in the streets and dismiss them. And they have mental illness, and you can tell. But you can tell by the way they walk. You can tell by the way they're talking to you. You can tell. So it's all around. If you can do anything, Tyson, if you can do anything to improve mental health care, what would you do? If you can do anything, if you had a magic wand and they said, "Here, we're giving you free range. You go out there and improve the mental health care system," what would you do? I know some people in the chat got some suggestions as well.
If I could do anything, I make it free for people to be able to speak to therapists. I don't feel like people should have to pay to get help, because if the roles were reversed, would you want to pay to get help?
Right. Tia?
mm,
Mm, I feel like they should make it. Yeah, they should make it like you said, Tyson, like longer and also more affordable or free, like because to get the good help and quality help that you would want your family members to have, it shouldn't cost like a fortune or it should be affordable so everyone can have the options with it.
Absolutely. I agree with that too. Ortega?
it takes special people to take care of those type of people.
It does.
Uh, I really don't know what to say, but we need to. I would gather each and every individual that has the integrity, the willing to want to help those people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I don't. I mean, everybody isn't straight out here. Everybody's just some people just doing their job. Some people are just there because they're there. I need everybody that's really there for that reason, giving
That's
their 100% into helping those people. Do I need those warriors? I would gather all of those warriors as much as I could. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Uh,
Definitely need to pay them more.
yeah, because I'm
It is
like,
like, yeah, I agree. You said it's a special somebody who can take care of special somebodies.
yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
people want to get paid. You know, people aren't just that kind out here. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. World is
Glenn,
crazy.
Glenn Ever, not to cut you off, I'm sorry. Glenver Terry the third said more support groups as well. I think it should be something offered with your insurance provider. You know, y'all, I can go all day long about this insurance and mental health. I have insurance through my job, but I also went and bought an additional policy to get help for my daughter because the one through my job, it was so hard to get her seen that I had to pay out of pocket for another policy. But once again, it doesn't cover everything. And so I do agree that should be included in treat it like a treat it. They have support groups for people who have drug problems. They have support groups for people who have alcohol problems provided through insurance. They have all kind of things. If support groups for people dealing with cancer, support groups for everything. But mental illness is that one tricky one that people don't want to acknowledge is an illness. Let's see, what did Sharon Dudley said? Be more grants for everyone concerning mental health. No one turned down. I absolutely agree. Years ago, uh, when I moved here in '96, there were state funded mental health facilities everywhere. Everywhere. This state is, I want to say, 49th in the country when it comes to dealing with mental health. The state stopped paying for all of those places and closed them down. Now, people's mental health didn't improve or go away just because it closed the places down. It's still there. They just took those people and threw them out in the streets. They threw them out with their families and they threw them out in the streets. And what ended up happening is now you have who dealing with mental health? The police. It's not the police's job. The police are there to enforce law. It's not a crime to be sick. But there was no people with mental illness except for the police. So you are absolutely correct that we need more funding to get these facilities back open again. Dana Green said, I would build centers for long-term care and their families will receive housing for their loved ones. I will also make the laws more accessible for their families to gain control of their loved ones. Absolutely, absolutely. I would love to have you on the show too, Mrs. Green, because you have a phenomenal story to tell. I would love to have you here as well. Um, they do these, it is difficult for the family to deal with mental health already, but then you have laws in place that make it even harder for us. So, like I did tell you all once in the past on the Facebook Live, if you want to go back and watch it, um, uh, India's dad and I have guardianship of her, and it's hard to get. It's think of the Britney Spears thing, the conservative and the guardianship that her parents had over her. That's what we have over India, and it is not easy to get that. It's very difficult. Everyone cannot get it. So laws are created. It makes it more challenging for us to even help our loved ones, especially the ones that are that don't believe that they have a mental health problem. Um, what's one piece of advice? I'm going to go back to the oldest and move down to the youngest. What's one piece of advice you can share with our listeners today about mental health? What's one piece of advice? If somebody could have told you this piece of advice, what would you want them to have said to you when it comes to mental health, Ortega?
Like I said before, mental health is very important. Try not to overlook the small details that are being shown to you, because there are things being shown. It's up to you to dive into detail and see what's really going on, or just say, "Oh, they just acting out." You know what I mean? I don't know. Some people just act out, but some people are really sick. So I would say try not to overlook that type of stuff.
Tyson, what's one piece of advice that you wish someone could have given you about mental health that you can now share with our listeners?
Don't be afraid to be transparent and just let your guard down and try to understand the person you're talking to, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to be understood. And I mean, I'm all about preventative measures, so anything to get that train stopped before it gets going, I'm here for it. A
Tia?
simple conversation could take you a
Yeah,
long way.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like also what Tyson and Taylor said, and you also shouldn't be like in denial. Don't be in denial. Accept it so you can start working towards, progressive action to get things under control.
Yeah. Sharon Dudley said, pay more attention to people around you and don't neglect the fact that mental health is real. Um,
Hmm.
you know, uh, to Tia's point, sometimes it's difficult when you have someone who does not believe that they have uh, any type of mental health issue. There's a stigma behind mental health that they feel like we were all saying before. We were, I think, even Ms. Dewberry had mentioned in her comments. Yeah, we just call them crazy. Well, who in the world wants to be labeled as crazy? I mean, I don't want to be labeled as crazy. I don't know anyone who wants to be labeled as crazy, right? So when you're dealing with mental health, people with mental illness and mental health, they sometimes they're in denial and don't want to believe it. Um, do you think that if when you look back, when you all were younger, do you think that we should have gotten you gotten you accustomed to going to therapy just because when you were younger? Do you think that may have helped her as she got older? Any of you can answer that. So what I'm saying is, do you think that if I had introduced you all to therapy as little kids, that maybe if something were to trigger you or something were to happen to you later on in life, that you would already be accustomed to going to therapy and receiving treatment, and maybe you wouldn't feel the stigma of like how India just is in denial. She just doesn't believe anything's wrong with her.
Hmm.
Do you think that would have helped?
Definitely, I definitely think, but it's like at that time then we wasn't thinking like that, you know.
So what I'm asking is, as parents, because there's a lot of parents on here more than young adults, um, if we introduce, do you think it would be helpful if we introduce our kids, like you have an 8-year-old, that we introduce our kids to therapy just because everyone can use just a little tune up from time to time. Not that necessarily anything is wrong, but just to teach you coping skills, or we all experience some kind of stress at some point in our life, whether it's with taking tests in school, trying to graduate, what college am I going to go to, am I going to go to, I remember I want a D1 school, and I remember all that, the stress of trying to get into a certain a school, and things like that. Do you think that maybe the stigma may go away a tad bit for some people um, if they start mental health at a younger age, or not necessarily, but therapy at a younger age?
Well, I think going to therapy would have been it can be a good thing, but what I also think would be very beneficial is just allowing, you know, your child to talk to you about how they feel and how to like properly express those emotions. And okay, yeah, and to properly express those emotions and to just kind of be able to vent, if that
Right,
makes sense.
right, right, right. I think that you know, especially in our community, that we don't really embrace therapy the way we should. Usually, we wait until something is wrong, and then we want to, start going to therapy, right? But if we start introducing it to our kids at a younger age, then the stigma may not be as bad in our community, right? I don't know if other communities do it or not. I only know about black folks. I can't say too much about what other races do. I can just tell you what we do. And I know that there was a stigma in mental health in our community. So I was just wondering, I just wanted your guys' opinion on that. What do you think, Tia?
Yeah, I feel like Miss Dana said, yeah, during that age, I mean, I feel like, yeah, during the age, you go through a lot of emotions. As you get older, some people don't know how to deal with those emotions, so they enter their early 20s carrying those habits, and then carry it further through your life, and it's just like it's developed into something that's now bigger that could have been addressed when you were younger, could have been noticed when you were younger, possibly. I
Right,
don't feel like therapy is bad. I feel like everybody could possibly use therapy, but yeah,
right. I
I
agree.
mean, I don't see the harm, to be
No harm
honest.
in it, right?
Yeah.
Um, Dana said, I've learned that the development of your mind at the teenage and young adult age is vital. My dad was smoking weed that was laced and had a PTSD from the war. That combination altered his mind. Absolutely. Um, this I don't, the weed smoking, that's a whole boy, that's a whole nother day that we can get into. Um, some people can do it, some people can't. Some people use it for treatment, some people don't. That's a whole nother thing, but I absolutely agree. Um, and she also said that look at therapy as an investment versus a chore. Absolutely. And that right there, Dana, can help people start changing the way they think about um mental health. Think of it more as this is just something we're investing in. We invest in car insurance, health insurance, tennis shoes. Y'all know y'all investing in them tennis shoes. I see them stacks of shoes that y'all have with getting off the Nike store, whatever y'all doing. But look at it like that. I think that would help our community as well. Um, what's the biggest takeaway you hope listeners learn? What's the biggest takeaway you hope that the listeners, I brought you all on here for a reason, because I thought there may be families, going through the same thing that I'm going through. I know there are families going through the same thing that I'm going through who have other kids, who actually, and I apologize to you all because I know that I've been very neglectful, to all of you. Oh man, just a little bit. I got makeup on to keep from crying. But I know I've neglected y'all a little bit, a lot, dealing with India, because her life has consumed me. And so I feel bad because I neglected all of you. So what is a takeaway? What is the biggest takeaway you hope our listeners learn from you all being on this show today?
Well, people dealing with this illness need that love. Don't
Absolutely.
shut them out. Don't call them crazy. They're not crazy. They just need help and your love.
Right.
You know, for real.
Y'all, I got my kids laugh all the time, y'all. Y'all see I got tears and everything, and them jokers will smile. Them
What we
kids will
supposed
laugh.
to do?
So I bust out with some tears. And they laugh at everything, y'all. Just imagine when they were little. I used to be so mad because they'd be in trouble and laughing. Tyson, same question for you. What is the biggest takeaway you hope listeners learn from hearing your guys' story and your experience with growing up with your sister and now, how she is now and things like that?
Well, first off, I love you and I don't feel neglected. I understand what's going on. And I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, all of us we straight. You gotta focus your attention on that one. You gotta do what you gotta do. We all know. So wipe your tears. Uh, the biggest thing I hope everyone took away was that sometimes you just gotta be that person to just step up and be able to be that ear for someone, to be that shoulder to lean on. Um, it's a cool thing to do. Uh, And sometimes, God's just gonna touch your shoulder and use you as that vessel sometimes. Just let him operate through you. It's not gonna do anything bad to you. It's gonna benefit you more so than you think about it. Because sometimes certain situations shows you what's really in you. So, just be that person to help someone up when they're down rather than belittle them and just keep them down. We got to make a change. So just try to make the change every chance you get. It's the little things that contribute to the big picture. So
Absolutely. Tia?
Um, yeah, I feel like, bad. Well, things take a turn for things you don't expect. And like Tyson said, I don't feel neglected. I just feel like, yeah, like we just, attention has to be focused where it's needed. And I feel like we could just take away that things can be turned into a positive outlook. I mean, the attention that is being brought from this, it just can have a big impact. So, yeah, I feel like things contribute. Like Tyson said, you never know where life takes you, but I do feel like it's all for a reason. And yeah, you just have to keep positive head and be optimistic. Just hope for the best. Yeah.
Good. Y'all are good. Is there any question you wish I would have asked you this evening?
I think you asked some questions tonight.
Okay. Well, I have a question. We have a few minutes left, and I never asked you all this, and so I want y'all to be as honest as you can. All right, be as honest as you can, and I'm curious to know what is something about you, Ortega, that I don't know.
Something about me that you don't know.
Yep.
You know everything. She
No,
knows
I don't.
everything.
No, I don't. No, I don't. What is something about you? And T and Tyson, you might want to start thinking as
Hmm.
well.
I'm one of those people. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but just just living life, working and just living life. I found out that I'm one of those people that people come to and just pour out all their emotions to me like a sponge. Like it's like natural. I'm coming. I don't know if you know that, but I don't know. I heal people. I don't
That's
know how
right.
I do it. I don't know how I do it. But people have told me time and time, like, Ortega, you're like a sponge, man. You don't even know it. You're so gravitating. You're so blah 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 blah. And I asked myself, I wonder, does my mom know that her son is got special powers?
All right. All right. Special powers. Tyson, what is something about you that I don't know?
Well, I mean, he took the words out of my mouth because
Miss
it's the
Dana
same.
said, "Go ahead and spill it."
It's the same thing for me. Just about. I feel like you. Yeah, you probably don't know this, but between you and me and T is that your qualities and his qualities just I just put it out there in the world every day. Me personally, I feel like you're a great people person. You know how to talk to people. You know how to deal with people. You know how to just communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with my dad, he's just so wise. Like he knows how to maneuver. Like he gives great advice. I mean, everything he says is just to put you in a better position. You know, take a step forward, never a step back. So when I come across people, I talk to people like they just talk and just tell me all their business and everything, and I just give them great advice. And we just have people get their hair cut by me for just the conversation sometimes. And
That's
I live for like helping people out. Like I doing that, I really enjoy just talking to people about their problems and just putting mine aside just to hear theirs and help them fix theirs. I love doing that. I'm pretty sure you may or may not know that, but
okay.
yeah.
Tia,
Um, I would say I work very well under pressure and in high stress environments. Um, I don't know. I really can't sit still either. I have to move around a lot. Like, yeah, sitting still is just so weird. And then if I am sitting still, I have to clean up or something. It's just like, yeah,
where you do that?
ADD.
Where you do that at work?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Not really. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, I just wanted to thank you guys for coming on the show today. Um, I'm hoping that um, people were able to be receptive to what you all had to say. We all, or we know, we either have or we know people that have mental illness in their family. It might be a direct family member, it might be a sibling, it might be a parent, it might be a whatever. But we all are familiar with those. And so I just wanted to bring the kids on. Y'all know they grown, but I just wanted to bring them on to share their experiences and the things that they saw growing up with their sister, and how that affected them, how it affected the family, what they learned from it, now that they have a new perspective. As you can see, they have a new perspective now about mental health. They weren't aware of it before, but now they have a new total perspective on mental health. So I just wanted to bring my kids on for my very first episode, because that was important to me, because I wanted them to share their own experiences in their own words with dealing with mental health. So I want to thank all of you all for coming. For like y'all at the house. I wanted to I thank all of y'all for logging on. Um, we will go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. We will have a different guest every week. The goal of the show is to bring awareness to mental health and mental illness, how it comes in different ways, how it comes in different forms, how it can affect anybody. You don't have to be rich, poor, black, white. We all can relate to this topic. So we will have different guests on every Wednesday. I do believe, and I got this quote from Ursula. You guys have to check her out. Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. It's an amazing podcast. Healing is in the conversations. So that is my goal. My goal is to help you all heal and help you all maneuver through this journey the best way that you can. Please subscribe to my channel, like and share it with your friends. Please sign the petition. It's located in the description box. Sign the petition. We are trying to change laws. We're calling it India's Law. We are trying to change laws and get longer term care for mental health and mental illness patients in acute care facilities. Um, Also, use the hashtag Mission for Mental Health. Use the hashtag India's Law. I appreciate y'all. I love you all. And I will see you all next Wednesday. Woo woo! Yeah, I got my first one in, y'all. Okay, I know that was good. I almost go through that part, but I couldn't help it. But anyway, bye, y'all. Good night. Have a good week and be safe.
Peace.
Uh,